If I've learned the one thing that I'm really good at, it's making lists of books that I want to read. So today I'm bringing to you my apollycon 2025 TBR. Now, apollycon is a book convention that me and my friends went to last year. I actually don't think I'm planning to go this year. However, one of my favorite things about apollycon last year was making this TBR and then trying all these new authors and finding what authors I wanted to get book signed from and stuff like that. So I thought, even though I don't think I'm going, why not still do that? Why not still just try new authors and use this as a way to find more fantasy romance that I'm absolutely in love with? Because I read a lot of new favorites due to apollycon last year. And I mean, making lists is fun. I have 15 books that I would like to read before April 2025. Even though there's really no deadline because I'm not going to the convention. But I like deadlines sometimes. The first book on my list is Worthy of Fate by A.N. Caudle. This one was really easy to put on my list because the author has a bunch of buzzwords on their website for it. And the ones that really captured my attention were Trials, Stabby, female main character, Shadow Daddy / Stalker, so a little bit darker, Forbidden Fated Mates, Elemental Magic, and Infected Lands. I believe we're following a main character who gets to compete in a trial, and if she wins the trial, she's gifted a lot of magic. But that's not all that's on the line for her, because her mother has just been infected by a plague that has been killing the lands, and she needs to figure out how to defeat this plague. Can Kaya survive the trial of the gods and gain the needed power to rid the world of the growing threat before it's too late? Or will she be drawn to what awaits her in the shadows? The Shadow Riker has waited a long time for her, his mate. He plans to claim what's rightfully his. However, people say that if they meet, if they're mates, someone is going to come to destroy his land, so he has to decide between his people and his mate. But I think he's very possessive, so I'm really interested in this. I do like a darker romance sometimes. Next up, I have Abigail Owens, who has 2 books that I'm interested in reading, or like 2 series, I guess, that I'm interested in reading. The first one is The Liar's Crown. The tagline for this says, "Some shadows protect you, others will kill you." This one follows our main character, who is the second princess to her twin sister, but she is hidden. She has only one purpose in life: to sacrifice herself to give her sister more power, and no one knows that she exists. Whenever there's trouble in the palace, a threat in the palace, she comes and she acts as the princess so that the actual princess is safe. So when someone kidnaps the princess, they accidentally get her instead of the real princess. I'm intrigued, and I do like a sibling dynamic, and I'm really interested to see what happens between like having a twin sister who is meant just to like be damage control, essentially. Like, she's meant just to exist for your sister to live. That sounds traumatizing, and I'm kind of into it. The other one by Abigail Owen is The Games Gods Play. This actually isn't published yet. It will be published in September, but I'm really intrigued. I think it's Red Tower because it has really cool edges. This says Percy Jackson for adults meets The Hunger Games with a slow burn romance between a contestant and Hades himself. Call me intrigued. I don't typically love retellings of any sort, but there's something about Hades that always gets me and makes me intrigued. I like when stories revolve around Hades. Every 100 years, the gods toy with the humans. Once every century, they select a new cutthroat leader. This kind of is giving me Pawn's Gambit vibes. But this year, Hades is done sitting on the sidelines. He's going to pick a champion that no one suspects. In this modern day mythic romantasy, she'll fight for a life for the god of death. I'm assuming it's like Pawn's Gambit, where they're fighting for their chance to rule, but they do that by picking a human champion to fight in their place. And I really liked Pawn's Gambit for doing that, and I'm intrigued by this one. Pawn's Gambit is not romantasy, so I'm intrigued by the romantasy aspect in this, definitely. But if you like this setup, definitely check out Pawn's Gambit by Rob J. Hayes. This one is somewhat outside of my comfort zone, which I think makes it kind of fun, but Living Legends by Ali Shante. This has a angel demon style to it. We're following Danny, who has been groomed by Lilith herself. She has long been spreading horror in purgatory. However, she is called to Heaven's Gate for a mission, and she has to work with the most handsomest angel to ever exist. The lines between good and evil are shifting, and Danny discovers that lurking in her familiar darkness are secrets she would have never guessed at and doesn't understand. Now she must ask herself, who is a demon meant to trust? And then of course there's Nicholas, who is our stubbornly attractive angel, and he is the goodest boy. Although he doesn't think that working with a demon is the best option, he is loyal to a fault, and he does it, and he somehow can't get thoughts of her out of his head. But like her, he realizes that there are secrets out there, and side by side they have to figure out who they are going to fight for. This one looks really good to me actually, and I'm really intrigued by it. And it's interesting because it's a book that unless someone specifically told me to read, it isn't something that would have like gravitated towards my attention. But like when trying to find books off this list, I was like, let's give that one a try. One I actually own, so when I saw it, I kind of had to put it on this list, because why own a book not to read it? Says me with an entire TBR of unread books. Lore of the Wilds by Annalee Sbrana. This one is the gorgeous Fairy Loot edition. I honestly am not the most excited about this book, but I have heard good things. I believe there's a love triangle in it, but I'm not 100% certain. Would you like to know how to capture the moonlight and wield it for yourself? How about which mushrooms will give you the strength of 100 men, and which will put 100 to sleep with just one taste? To never be subjected to the dark again, would you like to know if your loved ones are safe all those miles away? Wait, that's intriguing. This book is just so stunning. A library with a deadly enchantment, a Fey Lord who wants in, a human woman willing to risk it all for a taste of power. See, that sounds good. We're following a Lore who's trapped in a forested prison. Attempted escape is futile. She has lots of scars. But when her village is threatened, she makes a desperate deal with the Fey Lord. She convinces him that she will risk her life for just wealth, but really she's after the one thing the Fey covet, which is magic. She wants magic of her own. And she is forced to rely on 2 Fey males to survive in this outside world. Wait, this really sparked my interest again. Honestly, just looking at how pretty this book is always makes me want to love it. I have heard some pretty good things. I believe Kristen from Kristen Craves Books really liked that one. Next up, we have Divine Blood by Beck Michaels. I'm not gonna lie, the number one thing I remember from the synopsis when I read it was that he has wings. Okay, this is so micro, I feel like, but I love a scene where like a human touches a Fey's wings for like the first time, and he's like all sensitive about it, and it's like really like sacred and precious to be able to like touch their wings. I mean, I also like the ACOTAR style, you know if you know about the wings. However, like I just like that like sweet moment often where it's just like them letting each other in, and it's like a scene that always speaks to my soul. So whenever I see wings, I'm just like hoping for that scene in particular. A map to a place they each desire, a destiny they didn't expect. The shadow demon nearly took everything from our main character, Dinala, and would soon return for more, but she needs to learn a way to fight back, and she has. She must go on a journey and risk it all, and along the way she meets Cassiel, a celestial prince with magic blood and wings black as his heart. He's searching for a place and thinks that she can lead him there, but reaching their destination is not as easy as they both thought. They must fight for what they desire or die trying. This says, for the fans of Throne of Glass, The Cruel Prince, and The Lord of the Rings comes Beck Michaels' debut novel with remarkable characters, a budding romance, and gripping action. If I remember correctly, the author did write on their website that this was older YA, and I'm okay with that, but I like to know that going in that it is like a little more YA leaning than adult romantasy leaning. Next up we have Where Oceans Burn by Casey L. Bond. Mel from Melanor Reads actually has read this and she enjoyed it. With these 3 virtues we shall rise, with these 3 we shall conquer, truth, honor, blood. To my people, the sky, reigning Empyreans, Intention Day is sacred. Truth, to me, it's the day my carefully crafted lie crumbles and my truth give ways to my rune. It looks like on this important day, our main character is outed for having a lot of magic and people want to use her for their own selfish needs like people do when others have powers. They like to take them and use them. She has been given a choice to be caged or to be controlled, and she chooses to fight, which has her ending up in the hands of her greatest enemy, who I think is a pirate of some sort. I'm intrigued by this. It isn't like absolutely calling to me by the synopsis. It's not like the first one I'm gonna gravitate towards, but I'm excited to try it because I've heard like pretty good things about it. Let's continue to another pirate boy, Beneath Black Sails by Claire Sager. This will be my 3rd Claire Sager I'll be trying. I have read Slaying the Shifter Prince as well as Kiss of Iron. I loved Slaying the Shifter Prince. I thought it was a fun romp, and Kiss of Iron just didn't really work for me, but I'm intrigued to see if this one will work for me. Claire Sager has a huge backlist, so I'm excited that I'm exploring it. They all are technically connected, but she does have a lot of recommended reading orders on her website, and it doesn't seem like it's a must to read them. They seem to be very like intentionally done so that you can start wherever you would like to start, and I think characters just kind of overlap. I did get this one personalized, so I'm really hoping to love it. I really know nothing about this book besides that there's a pirate, and of course there's no synopsis on this because it was a special edition, so I need to pull up my phone. She's a sea witch wanted for murder. He's a pirate hunter determined to capture her. That's all I needed. That's probably why I own this book. That line is all I needed. I'm in. Sold. Sold for one line. But in a world of hidden treasures and deadly secrets, their attraction may be the most dangerous thing of all. She has weather magic on her side, and he is the bane of the high seas, but she isn't captain of her own ship yet. If she can prove herself and get a command, she'll be in charge of her own fate at last. To pay off his family debts, Nye Blackwood hunts pirates for the Royal Navy. When the bounty on Lady Vice grows, he's determined to make her face justice. But they are forced to work together to get through the sea. Buy Beneath Black Sails today to escape on epic adventures in a world where fae gift magic, monsters lurk in the deep, and shifting loyalties can blast even the coldest heart to smithereens. Because for one to succeed, the other must fail. I really sucked at reading the synopsis, but it sounds really good. Essentially, they're gonna go on a pirate treasure hunt together and learn some secrets and fall in love. I'm kind of sold. Next up is Thief of Silver and Souls by Eva Chase. I think this cover is absolutely stunning. There's something that just like speaks to my soul about it. What if it takes a monster to save a kingdom? We follow our main character who accidentally killed her little sister with magic that she didn't know how to control. And in her lands, magic is a fate that means death. So she's hiding outside, just trying to do some good, when an old lady comes, and when she's trying to heal her, she ends up actually stealing her soul. And the ghost of that lady is demanding her go on a quest to figure out what exactly got her killed. And on this quest, she discovers there's a lot of secrets. There's a conspiracy at the Royal College to unleash a deadly power on the entire kingdom. Do I want to infiltrate the cutthroat world of haughty elites? Gods no. But if I can save the kingdom, I could save my own soul too. So she poses as a refined lady, attending classes and fancy balls, trying to figure out what exactly is going on with this conspiracy theory. It's the first in a new fantasy romance series full of forbidden magic, impossible love, hot damaged men, and a rebellious heroine who's so much more than she imagines. I believe this is a why choose. I'm not 100% certain. Do not quote me on that. But I think I remember saying it's a why choose. Next up, we have The Wraith King by Juliet Cross. Another cover that I think is absolutely stunning. I can't get over this cover. Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh my god. There's a bloody war against the Wraith King, and it is costing the Light Fae more than they ever expected. However, he has sent a deal to end the war. He wants her. He wants an arranged marriage. And I believe it starts out as a tactical weapon thing. Like, he wants her for a specific thing because of a prophecy, but soon he learns that there is much more to her than he ever expected. I just like can't get over this cover. It's so stunning. More pirate romances, and another one that I owned, so I had to put on here, The Ever King by L.J. Andrews. I've heard pretty good things about this. I keep meaning to read it. I need to prioritize it. We're following Eric, the scarred king of the Ever Kingdom. He's thought of nothing but vengeance for the last how many years. He's stuck in a cage in the bottom of the ocean. He's a prisoner in his own realm. When his enemy's daughter happens to accidentally release him, he decides to use her as a pawn in the game of revenge. Things get a little murky, things get a little difficult because feelings start to arise between them. Doesn't that sound good? I'm in. I'm really in. Next up, I have Reign of Shadows and Endings by Melissa K. Rowick. I have read from this author before. I read Lady of Darkness by them. I liked this, didn't love it. I'm hoping to love this next series. There's something with the gods favoring the legacy and giving them a lot of power, but also fear of them coming against everyone, so they gave them a realm that they're not allowed to leave. The Fae are now subject to be chosen to go serve the legacy. We follow our main character, who is given the honor to work for one of them. However, she doesn't work for the one that she thought she was supposed to and ends up working for like the darkest realm, learning all about their secrets. I'm expecting this to lead a little bit more fantasy than romance, as Lady of Darkness also did, but I'm really intrigued by this one, and I think the setup of working for someone always gets me. Like I think it's a really good setup for a story, and I'm really intrigued by it. Next up, I have To Bleed a Crystal Bloom by Sarah A. Parker, another author I've read from before. I read When the Moon Hatched, and again, I just kind of liked it. I didn't love it. Okay, liked is even probably generous, but I'm really excited for this story. Sarah A. Parker was at apollycon last year, and she gave out like a sheet with like the tropes for either book series, and I definitely leaned more heavily towards this book series than When the Moon Hatched. It had all my buzzwords in it for To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, and I'm really excited. There's something about a captive princess, I believe. What a pretty flower, keep locked in a big rocky tower. 19 years ago, I was plucked from the heart of a bloody massacre that spared nobody else. Small, fragile, an enigma, now ward to a powerful high master who knows too much and says too little. I lead a simple life, never straying from the confines of an imaginary line I've drawn around the castle grounds. Stay within, never leave. Out there the monsters lurk. Inside, I'm safe, though at a cost far greater than the blood I drip into a goblet daily. Toxic, unreciprocated love from a man who's utterly unavailable. My savior, my protector, my almost executioner. I can't help but be enamored from the arcane man who holds the power to pull my roots from the ground. To Bleed a Crystal Bloom is a dark Rapunzel reimagining full of immersive imaginary and breathtaking angst. See, I'm in. I do think that it's supposed to be like very enemies to lovers, and I have read a few reviews about Stockholm Syndrome being a little bit of an issue, which, to be honest, I felt that way in this too, so I'm not surprised. But it could still work for me if it's done well. So I'm still really, really intrigued. Next up, we have The Claw in the Crown by Sarah M. Craddock. I can't believe I haven't read this yet. This was on last year's list. I just never get to it because it's a little chunky and it's all physical and I just never make time for it, but I need to this year. It is a bodyguard romance. We're following Imril, who has been told her entire life she's unfit to rule, that she will never be princess. So on the princess consort's naming day, she's shocked when the king, who has told her this multiple times, says her name. And she's angry because although the prince is her childhood sweetheart, all she's ever wanted was to leave this island and escape. So being consort to the prince is a prison sentence. Someone comes to be her bodyguard and passion ignites, but is he there for the right reasons? Is he actually there to protect her? I'm sold. I love a good bodyguard romance. Call me intrigued. I really, really need to read this, and Sarah M. Craddock has a huge backlist if I like this. And last but certainly not least on this list is Court of Blood and Bindings by Lisette Marshall. This is another one that Mel read and loved. She gave this one 5 stars. I think it's going to be a really fun time, and I'm really excited about it. They call him the Silent Death because he kills without sound and leaves none capable of speaking in his wake. The Empire's deadliest Fey murder catches her wielding forbidden magic. 20-year-old Emmeline believes her hour has come, but he spares her life and carries her off to the Fey land, except he doesn't take her to his ruler, the vicious queen. Instead, he takes her somewhere else. In the shadows, he's playing his own game, and she might be piece to the puzzle that he's been looking for. If she agrees to work with him, she could free all of humanity, but can she trust a Fey male with so much blood on his hands? Worse, when his smoldering dark eyes and dangerous secrets reveal glimpses of the heart behind his murderer's mask. Can't she trust herself? I wouldn't be able to trust myself, but like, just go for it. Dive in, head first, go deep. This one, I'm really excited about. Like, I just think it's gonna be a fun time and I'm ready for it. I'm really excited for this list. I think there's a lot of really, really incredible books on here. There are a lot of authors who I read last year that are going and I would recommend. So if you're interested in checking out what my list looked like last year, I will leave that video right here on the screen for you. Let me know in the comments down below if there's any book in here that really sparked your interest or if you found something new and exciting in this list. And if you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a mushroom emoji and have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day, hopefully also making TBR lists.